He stood in his garage, staring at a mound of store-bought potting soil. It was gray, dusty, and smelled of nothing. To Silas, it looked like slag, the useless byproduct of a life lived as a passive consumer. He realized that if he wanted to grow something meaningful, he couldn't just buy the foundation. He had to build it. He approached the dirt with the same precision he used for a structural beam. He knew the difference between a temporary fix and a lasting bond. Commercial chemical nutrients were like a quick tack weld, bright, fast, and effective for a moment, but brittle under pressure. Silas wanted a soil that had the depth of a deep penetration groove weld, something that could sustain life through the season. His journey began in the library, a place he hadn't visited since he was a young apprentice. He pored over diagrams of nitrogen cycles and carbon ratios, scribbling notes in the margins of his technical journals. He learned that soil wasn't just dirt, it was a living community. He studied the slow transformative heat of composting and compared it to the instant, aggressive surge of liquid fertilizers. In the backyard, Silas started his first compost pile. He treated it like a furnace, carefully layering green kitchen scraps and brown cardboard. He realized that rot was just another form of slow-motion combustion. He spent his Saturday mornings turning the pile with a pitchfork, watching the steam rise into the cool air, a sign that the microscopic workers were doing their job. He experimented with the blue crystals, next the commercial micronutrients he'd seen in every hardware store. They were easy, almost too easy. He watched as a test seedling shot up overnight, looking vibrant but feeling strangely hollow. To Silas, this felt like using cheap filler rod. It looked good on the surface, but he knew the structure lacked the integrity of something grow from the heart. Disappointment struck when his chemical-fed plants began to wither during a brief heat wave. Their roots were shallow, pampered by the constant drip of store-bought minerals. Silas sat on his porch, watching the leaves curl. He realized he had been trying to shortcut the process. He needed to find the balance between the raw energy of the chemicals and the slow-burning fuel of the earth. He turned his attention to liquid gold, compost tea. He brewed a dark, pungent liquid in a large barrel, stirring it daily with a long wooden paddle. It was a bridge between the two worlds, a way to deliver the complex biology of his compost pile directly to the roots. He felt like a chemist now, balancing the pH and oxygen of deep, ancient woods. The master mix was finally ready. Silas stood over a large wooden trough, combining his rich, black compost with perlite for breathability and just a touch of the mineral salts. He worked the mixture with his bare hands, feeling the moisture and the grit. It was no longer just dirt, it was a medium he had engineered. He was no longer just a welder of steel, but a welder of life. He planted a single heirloom tomato seed in his master mix. Days passed, and Silas watched with the patience of a man who knew that the best welds took time to cool. When the first green hook broke the surface, it didn't look like the spindly chemical plants. It was thick-stemmed and a deep, defiant green. It was a product of his labor, a living testament to his shift from consumer to creator. As the sun set over his workshop, Silas surveyed his garden. The sterile bags of soil were gone, replaced by a thriving world of his own making. He realized that at 50, he wasn't just maintaining his life, he was reinventing it. He wiped his dirty hands on his apron, feeling the weight of his new power. He had learned to build the very ground he stood upon.